Have you ever heard someone use the term universal waste and secretly wondered what that actually means? Is it just a fancy term for hazardous waste, or is it something totally different? In this video, we're breaking down what universal waste really is, what qualifies, what doesn't, and what it actually means for your facility. By the end, you'll understand the rules, the responsibilities, and why getting this right matters. Hi there, I'm Ruhlin from RMA, your environmental experts. We spend a lot of time helping facilities sort through waste classifications. And before we go any further, if you're ever unsure how a particular waste stream at your facility should be managed, you can always reach out to us here at RMA. Okay, let's jump in. To put it in plain language, universal waste is a specific category of hazardous waste regulated under the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act, or RCRA. To be clear, it is still hazardous waste. The reason it has its own category is because there are many items that many businesses generate, and the EPA wanted to encourage proper collection and recycling without imposing the full set of traditional hazardous waste generator requirements. Under the federal regulations, universal waste includes 5 categories: batteries, pesticides, mercury-containing equipment, lamps, and aerosol cans. And when we say lamps, we're actually talking about bulbs themselves, fluorescent tubes, compact fluorescents, mercury vapor bulbs, neon bulbs, not the entire light fixture. Now, those 5 categories, batteries, pesticides, mercury-containing equipment, lamps, and aerosols, are the federal baseline. But some states operate their own RCRA programs and expand the list to include additional items like certain electronics, antifreeze, or paint. That means if you operate in more than one state, you can't assume the rules look exactly the same everywhere. So what does it actually mean if your facility generates universal waste? It means you still have regulatory responsibilities, even though the standards are streamlined. You are required to properly identify the waste and ensure it falls into one of those categories. You must label containers appropriately. For example, universal waste lamps, or universal waste batteries. That labeling needs to be visible and accurate. You are also subject to accumulation time limits, meaning you can't just set it aside and forget about it indefinitely. You need a system for tracking how long it has been on site and a program for moving it off site before that time period lapses. Storage conditions matter as well. Containers must remain closed, structurally sound, and managed in a way that prevents releases. Batteries need to be protected from short circuiting. Lamps should not be crushed unless your state specifically allows it under defined conditions. And ultimately, universal waste must be sent to an authorized destination facility, typically for recycling. What you gain under the universal waste framework is reduced paperwork and fewer manifesting requirements compared to fully regulated hazardous wastes. What you do not gain is the ability to treat it casually. It is still regulated waste. Now briefly, because this confusion often comes up, used oil on the federal level is not universal waste. Used oil is regulated under its own section of RCRA with its own labeling, storage, and management standards. Containers must be labeled used oil, and the regulatory structure is separate from universal waste. And to be clear, there is no formal regulatory category called waste oil. That's a term people use informally, but it doesn't correspond to a specific rule set, which is where misclassification can start to create problems. And that's really the larger point here. Waste regulations can be confusing. If you'd like help reviewing your waste streams, confirming what you're really calling universal waste actually qualifies, or tightening up your internal procedures so everything aligns with the specific regulations in your specific state or states, reach out to us here at RMA. We're always happy to walk through it with you and make sure things are set up correctly before it turns out to be a major headache.